Brandon Woolvey back here, 7runningthezone.com. Me fresh off a long weekend in Jacksonville. Jeff fresh off a big win for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets over the Florida State Seminoles on Saturday. Don't forget we'll be live at Tech tomorrow from 11 to 1 on the radio. Want to spend some time here recapping our Silver Bullets. Don't want to waste any time with this in the radio program because, frankly, it's not radio worthy. But we assume the website user a little more hardcore, a little more interested in the minutia. So we'll give you a breakdown of that right now. A 2-2 week for me again. Jeff, this week you were what?
1-3.
1-3. So
coming off the 3-1 week from last week, I thought I was seeing the ball a little bit better. Things were starting to bounce my way. Revert back, right back to my 500 ways.
So the decidedly average nature of the Silver Bullets this season, once again, completely intact. Just to recap mine a little bit, credit myself for going the Miami side on the Virginia-Miami game. ACC, you've just been very topsy-turvy this year. Just been very difficult.
Good pick.
To figure out one thing from the next. But if you go against last week's winners, that's usually a pretty safe play in that conference, and that worked out for me pretty well. I also am going to congratulate myself on the California-Oregon game. I think Oregon this season has been, even though they came to this game ranked, they've been a little bit of a hard team to figure out with the quarterback injuries, with, kind of not meeting expectations. California been a little more straightforward team, a little easier team to get a handle on. Playing at home, relatively small number, that seemed like a relatively safe play. I jumped on that, was a winner with that. I don't know what I was doing with the Tennessee thing. Jeff bought into Tennessee at the wrong time in the Alabama game a little bit, although you didn't ever really make that a pick, but you thought they had a chance to play.
I thought there was a rise-up factor somewhere for Fulmer.
I do the same thing for the South Carolina game, just thinking, wow, a coach that I do believe to have some cachet, a coach that I do believe to have some kind of name brand. I'm not going to go out like this. Well, he did go out like this.
You just called the Hall of Famer today.
I did not call him a Hall of Famer.
That's what I heard.
I don't even know what a college football Hall of Famer even is. Guys who you think should be in our
called
name.
him Barry Switzer.
I did do that. That was obviously mistaken. Other pick was a loser. Buffalo and New York in the NFL. I don't know what happened with this game. I didn't see it. Just saw the score to paper today. Saw a couple highlights. Seems like a mistake.
Yeah, good call, because that was a mistake. I also had the Bills as well. Bad pick there. Jets took it to them. They had a kickoff return. They had a pick six. The game was never in doubt.
Can I interrupt you for one second? You may. This game, that Buffalo-New York game, a lot of times you get a pick wrong, you'll say, well, I thought this could have happened, but ended up this happened. As it turns out, I just underrated the Jets. I thought Buffalo was a lot better than the Jets, and apparently they're not.
You know what? We were on the same page there. I don't think highly of the Jets, and so I thought Buffalo coming off the loss was a good play. I also thought Cleveland against Baltimore was a great play. I love this game, and would make the pick again. They go up 27-13 in this game, and were in control. They end up losing 37-27.
Yeah.
No idea what happened there. Colleges didn't start off real good for me. I took Kansas State in that big sunflower showdown between Kansas plus 10.5. I love the pick when I made it.
I liked that one too, actually.
Liked it a lot. Kansas just blew them out. We've been underestimating Kansas all year, but they can score. They can't do much of defense, but they can score.
Yeah.
And Todd Reesing's actually played pretty well. My only winner of the week was Duke. For the second week in a row, I took Duke. They plus 7.5 against Wake Forest.
That game goes to overtime. Who won that game, by the way?
Wake Forest.
I knew it went to overtime. I didn't know who
Wake
won.
Forest wins the game in overtime, but a back-and-forth affair. Duke is an easy cover there, plus a 7.5. But again, 1-3 week. Miserable. Brandon 2-2. Anything else from the weekend jump out at you other than obviously the Georgia game?
Yeah, I sort of feel like what the Big 12 is doing this year is just so similar to what the SEC did last season, giving you those really nice games week after week. And frankly, this year's Texas Tech game reminds you a lot of that Auburn-LSU game from last year. And I know I'm not the first person to make that comparison with the kind of gunslinger move late into that game, but the kind of special year we as SEC fans enjoyed last season is the kind of special year that the Big 12 fans are getting to enjoy this season. It must be a great time to live in Texas or Oklahoma or Colorado or Nebraska or Kansas, one of those states that plays Big 12 football, because you're seeing an outstanding brand of this sport being played.
We talked to Jack Dale, the voice of Texas Tech, earlier in the show today, and talked about how big that game was. And I was just, as a fan, watching this, no dog in the hunt, just enjoyed myself for 3.5 hours. They're going to do the same thing. They're going back. Game Day's going back to Lubbock and going to do that national game again. Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. So there's plenty more to discuss with the Big 12.
And it must be very frustrating right now to be a Texas Tech fan because, guys like me are going to dismiss the idea of Mike Leach staying there long term. We think he'll probably leave and go somewhere else. And also guys like me are going to dismiss really any chance of them beating Oklahoma State next Saturday because they don't feel like the kind of team that's supposed to win 2 of these games in a row. And I'm not saying that I'm right on either accord. I'm just saying that's what feels like it's supposed to be true because Texas Tech sort of feels like a gimmick program to me a little bit. And if you're a Red Raiders fan, I'm sure you care just as much about them as I do the Georgia Bulldogs, and you want nothing more to prove that this is real. This is a team on solid footing and not some, fly-by-night situation.
But I think if you watch that game on Saturday night and watch, this team's for real. They got defense now. They've got a running game. Actually, like to mix it in. This is not just a team gimmicky throwing for 60 times a game
Jeff,
and giving up 60 on the other side.
But, Jeff, the other thing, though, is and all that stuff may be true, and you're right. You saw the game, and I didn't. I was driving back from Jacksonville. But Texas is not going to win 4 games in a row against top 10 teams like that. I don't know that anybody's going to. So I really put what happened in this game, without seeing the game now, grant you, I put more of the story on the fact that a team like Texas or a team like anybody can't beat 4 top 10 teams
Understand
in a row.
that.
More so than how great all of a sudden Texas Tech
But
is.
Texas Tech from a couple of years ago doesn't win this game no matter what.
But if Texas Tech comes second in this run of 4 games, not fourth in this run of 4 games, they probably don't beat the Longhorns.
Maybe, but this is the true road game that they finally had to go on.
That's a good point.
This is what happens.
That's a good point. Now, the game after that for Texas Tech, after Oklahoma State's the Sooners, there's a week off in between that. That shapes up to be a huge football game as well. We're live at Tech tomorrow. We'll talk to Coach Paul Johnson and keep up with all the goings-on of busy pro and college football week. Brandon Woolvey here. Thanks for stopping by on 790thezone.com.